All right, hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the beautiful Power Tech here in Meralco. If it's your first time here, as it is mine, I highly recommend that you ask one of your friends from Meralco to show you around. There's so much to see, especially if you're into smart homes, augmented reality, and wonderful things like that. But I digress. Hi, good afternoon again. My name is Justin Quirino, and it's my absolute pleasure to be with you all today for the Meralco Forum on Energy Efficiency at Home and in Business, which is, of course, brought to you by Meralco in partnership with the wonderful ladies at the Climate Change Committee of the Women's Business Council Philippines, or in short, Women Biz PH. Can we please give a big round of applause for Women Biz PH, ladies and gentlemen? I assume a majority of us here are from Women Biz PH. And we're so glad that you could join us here today, and we're so excited to learn from you as well and to continue learning as we grow on this journey together. And for everybody else, we're on Zoom as well. Hello to everybody on Zoom. Can we give a big round of applause for everybody on Zoom? We currently have 208 participants on Zoom right now, and we're told that number is growing. In fact, the link is around, so if you still want to share it, by all means, please do share it so more people can benefit from the info that we're going to be disseminating today, okay? And for those of you who don't know, by quick backgrounder, Meralco has been conducting a series of webinars to empower its customers to become energy efficient and to comply with the energy efficiency and conservation law. And this afternoon, we are quite privileged indeed and honored to be in the company of these empowered women from both the government and private sectors. Women advocates and leaders working to ensure sustainability through energy efficiency. And on behalf of Meralco, we welcome the Women's Business Council Philippines, and thank you again for joining us in this crusade to secure our energy reserves and espouse sustainable development in the Philippines. And to all of our distinguished guests from Women Biz PH, once again, good afternoon and welcome to this Meralco Forum. And for everybody on Zoom, hello again. We hope that you're comfortable wherever it is you are. And we have, 208. What are we now at? 265 now. Wow, see? We're growing by the minute. So hello to everybody on Zoom. We have a couple of reminders for you guys, by the way. We do hope that wherever it is you are tuning in to our webinar today, that you're in a nice, quiet, comfortable spot, and hopefully close to your router so that your internet is nice, fast, and secure. We also recommend using a headset for our webinar today, as that will also minimize any echoes that would come from your microphone if ever. And on that, we hope that you turn your microphone off. Please do mute yourselves in our webinar on Zoom today. But if you have any questions at all, we do have a question and answer portion later on, and we have a dedicated Q&A box on Zoom that you can use, and we'll try to get to as many of your questions as possible. Okay, we also encourage you to join the Meralco Viber group for enterprise and national government accounts. You can just scan this QR code over here. I did this yesterday. Please note that this Viber group is for enterprise and national government customers, all right? So enterprise customers are businesses with an average peak demand of 500 kilowatts and up, or an estimated monthly bill of 1.6 million pesos and above. Given that, I should probably leave this group. Make sure to scan the QR code being flashed here on the screen so you can get instant access to news and information from Meralco. And you can also reach us via email and through our hotline number. And for our customers in Meralco Biz with average peak demand of 5 to 499 kilowatts, you may reach us via the channels flashed on the screen. And for our residential customers as well, you can reach us through our customer care channels, specifically Facebook, email, or our hotline numbers. But before we introduce our first speaker for today, we would like to conduct a very quick online survey to find out what our audience expects from our webinar today, okay? So may we request everybody to kindly scan the QR code that you see here on the screen. We want to get to know you, okay? What do you want to learn today? What are you most interested in with regard to the topics that we're going to be covering today, okay? Please introduce yourselves to us, and we'd love to have a conversation with you, okay? Now, this QR code will bring you to Mentimeter, which is a nifty little website that gathers info for us, specifically your responses to our questions. And there's a link in our chat box so you can share that with us. Again, your learnings and what you expect to take away from today's session, our speakers and our panelists this afternoon. Okay? So there you go. Oh, okay. We already have a couple of responses here from Mentimeter. We should use this in all of our webinars. It's really cool. So, how to save with my electric bill. Okay. Additional info on energy efficiency. Okay. Simple energy efficient tips. Sure. Efficiency tips. Sure. I'm sure we're going to get to that. Tips on how to lessen electric bill. Okay. I see a common theme here. All right. Summer, specifically summer. Tips on how to be energy efficient this summer. Okay. This is more of a business question over here. How to reduce huge cost of power in manufacturing. Okay. Learn more on how to save. There you go. Save, save, save. We're here to learn how to save on our electric bills and to increase our profits in general, right? So there you have it. Just keep using that QR code and let us know what you want to learn from today's webinar, okay? And at this point, we would very much like to acknowledge the presence of our female Meralco leaders who are present here in Power Tech today. Once I say their names, could we please give them a big round of applause? We have with us the VP and head of Meralco Enterprise and National Government. She's also Meralco's representative to the Women's Business Council of Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, Engineer Cecil M. Domingo. Hi, Ms. Cecil. So good to see you again. We also have with us this afternoon the head of marketing, customer solutions, and product management. Let's please welcome Ms. Deza Lim. Hi, Ms. Deza. Okay, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed with our Meralco Forum. Joining us now to formally commence our program is the chairperson for Climate Change Committee and a trustee of the Women's Business Council Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for Attorney Lorna Pataho Kapunan.
Thank you so much to everybody, and a pleasant afternoon in these pleasant surroundings with pleasant people, and of course our very pleasant Justin here. As you can see, I normally don't wear bright colors, but today, because of the dire message on climate change, we have to remain hopeful for the future. You know, women often face higher risks and greater burdens from the impact of climate change in situations of poverty, and due to existing roles, responsibilities, and cultural norms. In many societies, such as ours, women are responsible for household energy, for food, water, and care for the young and elderly. The United Nations Climate Change Commission has emphasized time and again the five compelling reasons why climate action needs us women. Reason number one, climate action requires 100% of the population. Half of the world's population, we all know, is comprised of women and girls. Yet, we women are often left out of the conversation when it comes to climate change. We need women in all levels, from climate negotiations to boardrooms to forests and fields, especially in regions hit hard by the ravages of climate change. Reason number two, empowering women means better climate solutions. In developing countries such as ours, women make up half of the agricultural labor force. When provided with the same access to resources as our men, women can increase their agricultural yields by 20% to 30%. This boost in productivity not only improves total world agricultural output by 2.5% to 4%, but it can also reduce world hunger by 12% to 17%, according to the United Nations. Reason number 3, women are key to building climate resilience in communities. When it comes to building climate resilience in communities, involving women is crucial. In fact, the United Nations reports that communities are more successful in resilience and capacity building strategies when women are part of the planning process. I have seen this. For many a decades, I've been governor and volunteer of the Philippine Red Cross and seen firsthand how women are usually the first responders in communities with national disasters. Women are the leaders in disaster risk reduction and contribute to post-recovery by addressing the early recovery needs of the families and by strengthening community building. Reason number 4, climate change affects us all, but it does not affect us all equally. Climate change affects everyone, but it does not impact everybody equally. Particularly in developing countries, the consequences of climate change can increase the burden for women and girls. For example, it causes them to travel further to obtain daily supplies, leaving less time for paid work and potentially exposing women to greater risk to their own personal safety. And lastly, but not necessarily the least, is reason number 5. Countries recognize the importance of gender in climate planning. The good news is that women and girls are becoming increasingly empowered to contribute to and benefit from climate change. The Gender Action Plan, agreed upon by many a government, including ours, surprisingly, under the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, calls for women's full, equal, and meaningful participation in the international climate process and to ensure a prominent role for women in decision-making and climate action. Ladies, gentlemen, to our viewers, actual and virtual, it is because of these 5 compelling reasons that I mentioned that the Women's Business Council, under the leadership of our very able President Rosemary Rafael, Rose, and our board members who are here and members of the Climate Change Committee, please stand to be acknowledged. Everyone. It is because of these 5 compelling reasons that Women Biz has created a Climate Change Committee to invite women to be part of the conversation on climate change and hopefully contribute to climate action in our own respective household, our own respective businesses, and our own communities. For the coming months, Women Biz has planned a series of fora, face-to-face and virtual, on various interesting topics on climate change that hopefully will transform us all in doing our own individual and collective action towards addressing, mitigating, and coping with the challenges that face us ahead. Today, we welcome all of you to our first forum entitled Energy Efficiency at Home and in Business, with distinguished keynote speakers and panelists, all experts in tackling this important topic. Thank you, Cecil Domingo, and your energetic Meralco team. Please stand up. Thank you for graciously hosting and planning this maiden event, which I'm sure will set the gold standard for all of my uh, future fora. This maiden event for women climate change. Mabuhay! Mabuhay ang Meralco! Mabuhay ang kababaihan! Mabuhay tayong lahat! Let us all be warriors, climate warriors for change. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Can we also say, mabuhay si Attorney Lorna? Oh my gosh. I love you, Attorney Lorna. Can I just say, I'm like, I mean, I know definitely we're talking a lot about women empowerment, but I was very inspired by that speech. So, another big applause for Attorney Lorna, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think with opening remarks such as those, we just got to start this right now. Let's get into the meat of it, shall we? Let's jump right into the Meralco Forum on energy efficiency at home and in business. Our first keynote speaker of the day will be sharing with us valuable energy saving tips for the home. Okay? And she started her career in Meralco in 2002 as a customer care representative at the business center and has since been with the company for 20 years now. So rest assured, she knows what she's talking about. She worked her way up to now being the North Area Head of Home and Microbiz of Meralco, where she oversees the strategies and operations of 19 business centers. She's also a sustainability champion, which is something you might like, and you might recognize her with all of the energy tips from the monthly Meralco Advisory. A very warm round of applause, please, for the SAVP and North Area Head of Meralco Home and Microbiz, Ms. Maita Basa David.
Thank you, Justin, and a pleasant afternoon to all. Thank you, Attorney Lorna Kapunan, for that very inspiring message. Welcoming remarks, and thank you so much to the Women Business Council, of course, for inviting us, Meralco, to be given the opportunity to be able to provide our energy efficiency tips for the business and in the home. In particular, I am here to talk about energy efficiency tips that would hopefully, be so that we could be more energy efficient and adapt to a sustainable lifestyle that will power our brighter tomorrow. So let's start by defining energy efficiency. More likely, energy efficiency is associated to cost savings. But it's not always the case. Energy efficiency, as defined by the Department of Energy, is basically less energy consumption, yielding the same or better results. But if we translate this to Meralco's context and service, energy efficiency is about, of course, empowering ourselves, using the knowledge that we acquire and the right tools for us to make sound choices and practice efficiency and sustainable habits. These ways will ultimately help us improve our lifestyle today and that of the next generations. Ang pag-manage ng konsumo ay magsisimula talaga sa ating mga sariling bahay, kung paano at gaano natin katagal ginagamit ang mga appliances. Being conscious of all of these practices is the first step in managing our electricity consumption. This may be a simple step, but when we do this, our families, our neighbors, friends, and co-workers see what we are doing and how this impacts our lifestyle, we can influence them to do the same. So this then hopefully multiplies and empowers the communities and industries that we belong to. With these collective actions, we can achieve a comfortable and sustainable way of living. So the question is, how can we achieve it? Mag-umpisa tayo sa ating mga sariling tahanan. So the dry season or summer, as we may call it, has already started. So nararamdaman natin mainit talaga ang panahon, di ba? And electricity consumption increases during the summer months by 10 to 40%. In fact, if you look at your electricity bills, there is a graph there that really shows, the monthly trend of consumption. And we are also able to compare that with the previous year's consumption. So tuwing panahon ng tag-init, our electricity consumption, of course, increases. and especially like, our refrigerators, aircons, and fans, dahil mas madalas natin itong ginagamit. So, ginagamit natin ito dahil we want to be also comfortable. At dahil dito, we should always be conscious of our electricity consumption. So I would like to show you this guide that would help us manage our consumption. We can actually follow the energy management pyramid. There are 3 call to actions that is shown here, color-coded as assigned to the pyramid. So from the bottom, let's start with enlighten, be informed. We should know and understand how our appliances operate and how we use it, the manner and length of time that we use our appliances. We should be more conscious of our usage. Empower. As we have been enlightened, we have the knowledge and information you now need to take action, to manage your consumption. And of course, lastly, energize. By practicing what you do until you make it a habit. You got the power to share this habit to others, like what we are doing right now, having this forum. So, meron kaming ginagamit na tagline when we have our Meralco advisory, you have the power this summer. So we would like to enlighten, we would like to empower, and then also to energize, because we have the power. We are empowered. Okay. So for this segment, that is very much relevant in terms of how we can manage our homes, I will be putting focus on the first 2 levels of energy management: energy conservation and energy efficiency. In Meralco, we provide and share energy efficiency and conservation practices to our residential customers through our Bright Ideas program. So this program will help you manage your electricity consumption, and so you can make informed decisions at your home. So I will be sharing with you practical tips. So let's start by going inside the house. Okay. I will be discussing energy efficiency tips in the 3 main areas of the house. So the living room, the bedroom, and the kitchen. So let's start in this area, in the kitchen. A typical appliance in the kitchen is, of course, the refrigerator. As we know, there are different types of refrigerators. We have a single door, we have a top or bottom freezer type, as shown on the screen, a 2-door, and lastly, a French door. So the tip here is kapag bibili tayo ng ref, we need to choose the right size. Dahil magkakaroon ito ng epekto sa ating konsumo. So kung malaki ang ref natin, kahit konti ang laman, mas malaki ang kinokonsumo. Kasi nasasayang, 'di ba? Malaki ang binili natin na refrigerator, at pag malaki ito, it uses more electricity. So we really need to find the right size for our needs. Kapag maliit naman ang ref, pero madami ang ilalagay natin, mas mahihirapan ng ref sa pagpapalamig at pag-maintain nito dahil sobrang dami ng laman. And ang tip dito is that we should always keep our refrigerators at about 70%, 'di ba? Wag natin pupunuin kasi habang napupuno ito, mas nahihirapan ang makina ng ating mga refrigerators. So given this, how do we choose the right refrigerator size? So for 3 members in the family, we recommend a 7 to 10 cubic feet refrigerator. For 4 members, we recommend an 11 to 18 cubic feet. And lastly, for 8 to 10 members, we recommend 9 to 23 cubic feet. So again, the right size of refrigerators for what we need in our family, or for what we need in our homes. So right sizing is the key. Another practical tip for your existing refs at home. So meron tayong mga refs sa bahay. Check if there are possible air leaks. Yon, malaki ang bagay kapag may air leak ang ating mga ref. Simple lang naman ito, 'di ba? Nakita na natin, I think this has always been mentioned, right? That we put a piece of paper in the ref, if it falls, meron yang leak. So as much as possible, when you put the paper between the ref, kailangan mahirap itong matanggal, 'di ba? Kapag medyo madali na itong matanggal at nahuhulog ito, sira na yung ating refrigerator gasket. So, I encourage everybody to do the paper test because kapag ma-eliminate natin itong leak, you can save up to 400 pesos per month. Imagine that, just making sure that there are no air leaks. You could save at about 400 pesos per month. So the next tip is to avoid putting warm food inside the ref. So, di ba ginagawa natin yan minsan? So, I see some of our ladies here who are, doing this. Huwag natin gagawin. Because if you put warm food inside the refrigerator, mas nahihirapan yung compressor ng ating ref. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan niyang mas palamigin ngayon yung ref. And when that happens, of course, it uses up more electricity. Nahihirapan yung ref eh. So, it uses up more horsepower. So, we have to be conscious of that. So, kapag kailangan na maintain kasi ng refrigerator yung tamang temperature, diba? The refrigerator is there to keep our food cool, and so it has to maintain it at a certain level. So, the practical tip here is to cool your food first if you want to put it inside the refrigerator, and you will save up to 20 pesos per month. Okay? So, I hope that you got that tip there. Okay. Next is, iwasan din nating punuin or i-overload ang ref at hayaan na para makapag-circulate ng maayos ang cold air sa loob ng ating refrigerator. Pag mas mabilis kasing mapalamig ito, mas hindi gumagana ang ating compressors. So kapag nasa optimal level siya, makakatipid tayo ng almost 250 pesos per month when we are not overloading our refrigerators. So nandito, we have their engineer Joel, so he's with our power lab. So we really do test these appliances, for us to know if this is the real deal, right? So that is a tip there again. Kapag naman hindi gaano karami ang laman ng inyong ref, mas maigi rin na iset natin ang ref settings from high to mid. So we have this perception also, diba, that when we want to keep our refrigerators cool. But kapag hindi naman siya masyadong puno, let's just put it on the mid-level. Kasi sa ganyang paraan, makakatipid ka ng up to 202 pesos per month. And last tip for our refrigerators, let's try to optimize our consumption by upgrading to an inverter-type refrigerator. Inverter technology has a variable speed compressor. So what it does is it enables to adjust its efficiency in accordance with the outside temperature and the refrigerator load. So ganun kasi yun eh, ang ref natin, kung ano yung temperature sa labas, kung ano yung nandoon sa loob ng load. And if you have an inverter technology, mas maganda ang pag-regulate. So maganda itong investment dahil makakatipid ka ng up to 405 pesos per month sa kuryente. So those are very practical tips in the kitchen. I hope that our ladies here were able to get some tips. And now we move on to our bedrooms. Diba? Pagkatapos ng tip natin sa kitchen, punta naman tayo sa ating bedroom. So dahil sa init ng panahon, and of course, we want to be comfortable, one of the common appliances in our bedroom are the air conditioning units, the air cons. So an important thing to consider is right-sizing the ACUs. Again, you will always hear that word, right-sizing. Again, talking about energy efficiency and conservation, we should avoid, of course, wasted energy. So right-sizing helps you avoid extra costs and wasted energy. As an example, for an 18 to 22 square meter room, a 1 horsepower ACU consumes 755 pesos per month. So these are examples that you would like to consider. If whatever the size of your room is, you can always right-size it to the type of air conditioning units that you will buy. So looking at the sizing for ACUs, as recommended by DOE, for a 1 horsepower aircon, the suggested is for an 18 to 22 square meter. For a 23 to 27 square meter room, it's 1.5 horsepower. And for a 28 to 40 square meter room, it's a 2 horsepower aircon. So, we just need to find the right air conditioning units for our room. And moving on, another tip when using ACUs, we need to make sure that all openings such as doors and windows are closed because of air leaks. Kasi kapag merong air leak, hindi nako-contain yung lamig sa loob ng ating room, this of course will again may result to higher consumption. So in the same way as our refrigerator is working, diba, it has an optimal setting, that is the same way that we do for our rooms. So let's be also conscious of air leaks. Next, we can also adjust the temperature settings in using air conditioning units. Switching a 1 horsepower ACU from 18 degrees to 25 degrees setting can give you savings of up to 1,017 pesos per month. So baka sabihin natin, parang ang init naman ng 25 degree setting, di ba? So again, the power is in your hands. We are offering you this tip, but then because there is about 5 to 7% per 1 degree of setting, like if you switch it from 25 to 24 or from 18 to 19. So the tip here is that if you keep it at a 25 degree setting, coming from an 18 degree setting, that is about 1,000 pesos savings per month. Also, we can make it a habit to clean our aircon filters every 2 weeks. So kailangan linisin natin ito so that it can give you savings of about 208 pesos per month. Filters that are unclean make your aircon work harder, resulting to additional consumption. So again, pag nahihirapan ng ating appliances, mas malakas itong kumonsumo ng kuryente. And same as the refrigerators, shifting to inverter technology can have a savings of about 1,245 pesos per month. Inverters can come in both window type and split type aircons. So you have the conventional aircon and you also have the inverter type aircon. Now, after talking about the kitchen, tips in the kitchen, tips in the bedroom, we are now moving to the living room. But then these tips are also something that we can see in our bedroom, right? So let's move to lighting. For studying or working late at night naman, di ba, parang switching on the ceiling light while the desk lamp is on costs only 15 pesos and 80 cents per month for the use of both lighting. So you might ask, why am I recommending for you to have 2 electrical loads on? Diba? Merong ceiling light, meron pa tayong desk lamp, but the cost is only 15 pesos and 80 cents. And the practical tip here is, of course, we want to avoid eye strain. Ayaw naman natin na mahirapan din yung ating sarili, diba? So having those both lights on will just be down to 15 pesos and 80 cents per month. So another appliance that has become, you could say, essential nowadays now, given the pandemic, to keep your home safe and healthy are air purifiers. Similar to the other appliances that I have mentioned, you should also use the right size of air purifier. So for rooms 28 square meters and below, a 33-watt air purifier will suffice, and it only costs 58 pesos per hour. Another tip on appliances that are more efficient in the same line as, shifting from inverter technology for air conditioning units and for refrigerators is to have a DC electric fan. So most of the electric fans that we have at home are running on AC, so AC yan. But the DC technology is also available now in the market, and it could also give you more savings. So the fan will just have an adapter, and then you just plug it in, and it could have more savings. It's a technical term, AC and DC. Generally, we are running on AC. So if you want to shift to DC, that is also available. Right. Alternating current and direct current. Yes, so that is an engineering term that we can also learn for today. So shifting to that type can save you of up to 122 pesos and 40 cents per month if you shift to DC fans. Okay. So another tip that is timely now, given the summer season, is to use fans to boost your air conditioning unit. So again, 2 electrical loads. Ginagawa natin to dati, diba? But you would think, is it energy efficient? Yes, it is energy efficient. It's about 175 pesos per month. So if you have your air conditioning unit on for your room and you have your electric fan, dahil mas mabilis na napalamig ng air condition ang iyong room, kaya mas magkakaroon ng savings. So it's really that factor na mas mapabilis yung pagpapalamig. So that is why there are savings. Now moving on to another tip. Switching to motion sensor LED lights will also help you save 26 pesos per month. pwedeng mong gamitin ang motion sensor light sa mga lugar na hindi madalas gamitin. So that is also a tip that you can use kasi minsan, di ba, naiiwan nating bukas ang mga ilaw. So a motion sensor type of lighting could help. Now, those are the practical tips in terms of the efficiency of appliances, the energy conservation tips, but of course, without sacrificing our own comfort. Kasi importante din yan, di ba, in things that we do. Now, let's move to this topic that I'm sure you are also interested in, phantom load. Ano nga ba kasi yung phantom load? Yeah, so these are the electrical consumption caused by an appliance, equipment or device that is turned off but still plugged in. As long as you see that red dot, right, there is phantom load. So to avoid phantom load, a practical tip is of course to unplug all of our appliances when not in use because it could save you as much as 250 pesos per month. So ito yung mga television units, speakers, computers, rice cooker, washing machine. So all of those together could have that saving. So we just need to unplug it. But you know, if it is too tedious na tatanggalin natin, di ba? Most of the time yung ating mga plugs. Another tip would be to have a power strip. Kapag magkakadikit naman yung electrical appliances, then we could just have a power strip and then you could just turn it off one time, switch it off to avoid that phantom load. So wala na tayong standby power. And then lastly, for water dispensers, you can make it a habit to unplug water dispensers at night, and this can save you up to 130 pesos per month. So meron pa rin naman yung reserve cooling. So in the morning, you can just plug it in again, but at night, when it's not in use, you can unplug it. This last thing that I am sharing with you is about ESDs, okay, or the energy-saving devices. They do not work. Okay, they do not work. Based on the Meralco Power Lab studies, ESEs do not lower your electricity bill. So again, I am seeing reactions from our live audience. Because it is plugged in. And talking about phantom load, right? Our ESDs have that red dot. So in fact, it is an additional load. So it does not work. So they can actually cost you more kasi meron nga silang phantom load, lalo na 24/7 pa siya nagra-run. So it is an additional load because it is plugged in. Also, it can pose as a potential hazard. So as much as possible, diba, if you want to conserve energy, if you want to conserve electricity, I've given you so many tips, right? So let's just follow tips in terms of how we, you know, our behavior. It's a behavioral change. We have to be conscious of how we use our electricity. Let's not resort to ESDs because it does not work. Okay. I'm hearing reactions from the crowd. It's fake news, yeah. So that is our last energy efficiency tip for your homes. For bright ideas and tips, you may visit our website, as shown here on the screen. And we hope that we have enlightened you with the bright ideas tips. As you are enlightened, I would also like to encourage you to empower you to make better decisions at your home. You can do this by tracking your consumption using the Meralco Appliance Calculator. Again, let's do away with the ESDs. Let's just follow the energy efficiency tips that we have shown you. We also have it in our website, in our Facebook page. You could even watch my previous Meralco advisories. It's in YouTube, so promoting that as well, no? So there are so many tips that Meralco has already provided. But for you to have the power on your hands, you can also use the Meralco Appliance Calculator. So this is another tool that supports DOE's yellow labels and other efficiency initiatives by helping customers know how to manage your appliances or gadgets per day, per hour, in peso, depending on how you use them. You can use the Meralco Appliance Calculator by following the steps shown on the screen. Okay. And the Meralco Appliance Calculator is available also in our website and on the Meralco mobile app. So I also encourage everybody to download the Meralco mobile app. So for more information and other concerns, please do not hesitate to reach us through any of the different channels shown on the screen. So thank you very much for taking the time, for listening, and I hope that everybody learned on how we can be more efficient in our homes. You have the power in your hands for a brighter tomorrow. Marami pong salamat sa inyong lahat.
Wow, thank you so much. Another big round of applause for Miss Maita, ladies and gentlemen. I took down so many notes. It's kind of crazy. And I was taking lots of pictures. Because you know what? If you took any of the pictures of any of those slides there and you share that in your social media, daming kaalaman, no? That's a lot of very useful information that a lot of people would be able to utilize. So 10 to 40% electricity consumption boost during summer. That alone is pretty shocking. 10% maybe, but 40%, that's quite sizable, no? So again, thank you so much, Ms. Maita. Big round of applause for her, please. And now from our homes, we move on to discuss energy efficient measures and practices for businesses. This covers SMEs and even for those large commercial and industrial customers. So, it is with great pleasure that we welcome our second keynote speaker for today. She has been with Meralco for 20 years and has extensive experience in customer service, commercial operations, sales, and relationship management as well, product innovations, and renewable energy. She was the former head of Meralco's Renewables Program Management Office, where she formulated strategies and the roadmap for the company's renewable energy plans. She's currently the head of Meralco Biz, the segment dedicated to powering up SMEs and providing energy solutions that can help businesses grow. Through her strategic partnerships with SMEs, she has helped businesses achieve operational efficiencies, which have resulted in significant savings that were reinvested for business expansion. Friends, a very big hand, please, for the AVP and head of Meralco Biz, Miss Joy P. Mendoza.
Allow me to walk a bit, ma'ams and sir. May konting recitation po tayo. Joke lang. I was a bit nervous while Justin was introducing me. You know why? I had this feeling that I will get to be introduced as Manong Joe to complete the Meralco advisory tandem with Maita. So I'm not Manong Joe, I am Joy. All right. So good afternoon. And it feels so good to be surrounded with beautiful and empowered women here at Meralco's PowerTech. We would like to thank the WBC for inviting us in this session. You know, this gives us the opportunity to share with you on how to be energy efficient and eventually be sustainable in our lifestyle that will eventually power our brighter tomorrow. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. And today, after home, let's start the discussion on the energy management measures for businesses. You know, businesses are not spared similar to the households by the summer months or the dry season. And cooling equipment continue to drive the total energy consumption. And you know, management of consumption for businesses is very significant. Why? It allows all of you to generate savings, improve operational efficiency, which could be the source of expansion of your future pipeline, of your future projects. Not only that, additionally, because of a new law, the Energy Conservation or the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, or Republic 11285, this requires all designated establishments or DEs with annual average consumption of 100,000 kilowatt hours to implement energy efficiency measures that will eventually reduce energy consumption. And that will start from onboarding energy manager or your conservation officer, having your energy framework or energy management framework, have a regular monitoring reports and compliance audits with your on-hand consumption data on hand. And finally, you should be able to draft projects and initiatives that will improve your energy efficiency and achieve your targets or goals. Now, speaking of your goals and targets, how can we help you in Meralco? So for today, we'll walk you through on this energy management pyramid. Earlier, Maita was able to present the 4 levels of the energy management pyramid for homes, but for businesses, we have 5 levels. So starting off with the first level, we'll have energy management. So this first level allows us to understand your use of energy, your consumption behavior. What are your targets in your organization? What do you want to achieve? What are your objectives, right? Now, it is suggested that during energy assessment, to use the PDCA cycle or the plan, do, check, and act, all right? Plan is about understanding your existing consumption, your consumption behavior. Where are you right now? You need to set your targets, you need to set your goals, and eventually draft your plans, your next actions plans. So you have to plan it very, very well. Do is about executing the plans or the action steps that you actually were able to craft during your planning stage, right? And then C speaks about checking your performance. You have to review it. Were the targets and your objectives met? Were you able to reduce your energy consumption? If not, then let's revise your plan as needed. You may also want to employ an independent party or an entity to do the energy audit for you. So we have a number of energy services company, just like that of Meralco's MServe. They can check your performance and they can provide you with sound recommendations on what to do best when it comes to your operations and in terms of energy efficiency for your organization and for your business. And lastly, let's act on the needed improvements. Kanina narinig ko si Maita, ang daming tips sa ref, ang daming tips sa ilaw, sa kusina at sa mga kwarto, ano? I guess we'll be hearing more of this also for businesses. So right after our energy assessment, let's proceed with the second level. We'll have our energy conservation. This level entails a change in the behavioral or operational practices in your organization. Why? Because you need to control the consumption of all your appliances and all your equipment, right? So a sample of these are air conditioning units. Siguro this is a basic principle. Why kanina nagsimula si Maita sa home and now sa business? Bakit laging sa ref? Or bakit laging sa aircon? It's a basic tip. Ang pinakamalakas po sa kuryente ay lahat ng may heating and cooling element. Ibig pong sabihin, lahat ng nagpapalamig at nagpapainit, yan po ang drivers ng malakas sa konsumo sa ating kuryente. Alright? So similarly on business, if you want to maximize the cooling capacity of your air conditioning units, we have some tips in terms of installation. For window type, we highly suggest to install this to about 3 to 4 feet from the floor. And then from split type, it should be at least 7 to 8 feet from the floor with 15 centimeters air gap from the ceiling. And meanwhile, for the cassette tapes, ito usually yung mga similar sa office, ano? This should be installed somewhere between 2.8 to 4 meters from the floor, depending on the manufacturer's requirement. So yung mga high ceiling, medyo hindi po tayo energy efficient, right? Kasi medyo mas mataas, mas malaki yung space na kailangang palamigin sa loob ng office or sa loob ng bahay. If energy conservation measures are not enough to meet your targets, let's move on to the third level. It's now the energy efficiency. But this time around, this will require you to invest on new and innovative technologies to further reduce energy use. All right, so shifting to inverter type of air conditioned units, freezers, chillers will give you savings to about 60% every month. And that was tested in our Meralco Power Lab. All right? Next, chest freezers, there are two types: glass hard top covers and those glass type covers. It was proven that those hard type covers are more efficient than glass hard top covers. But of course, it depends upon one's use, on what unit to choose. But from our end, it is our recommendation that for industries related to storage, go for the hard top covers. But for those industries related to retail, more likely the convenience stores, then go for the glass top covers. Right? Why? Because it will give a sneak peek already to your customers what's inside the freezer. There's no need for them to open and shut the door of the freezer that's actually triggering a higher consumption from those freezers. So it actually depends on the type of industries, okay? Now, let's go to LED. Switching to LED lighting will give you savings to about 85% per month per bulb. Additionally, if you reduce the number of your bulbs, that will give you an additional 60% savings, because it was tested already that the less number of LED lights will give you the same illumination to that of the CFL bulbs. All right? Moving on, and last tips on our energy efficiency, you might want to consider installing an energy and heat recovery ventilators. These are designed to recycle and reuse about 80% of your heating and cooling energy contained in your exhaust air. So what's the effect? This machine actually conditions the temperature and relative humidity of the room or of the facility. Therefore, your air conditioned units are not working so hard. So, and that's the source of minimizing your energy consumption in your businesses. Moving up to our fourth level, and this is something very unique for businesses, not entirely relevant to homes, our energy programs. We have 3 programs. We have our peak of peak, or time of use. Second is a net metering program, and the third is the zero export program. On peak of peak solution, kung maaalala nyo po nung araw, nung mas bata po tayo, di ba, nauso po sa mga telecommunication companies, mas murang tumawag sa gabi. Naaalala nyo po ba yon? So this is a pricing scheme very similar to that. This pricing scheme, the rate is actually based on the time electricity is generated and used. So bakit po mas mura during off-peak? For obvious reasons that there are less users during off-peak rather than peak. And under these programs, our off-peak period runs from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. That's from Monday to Saturdays, and 22 hours for Sunday, except for 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Those businesses that are into 24/7 operations, especially those with machine-intensive ones, this program is definitely for you. So if you will be able to shift more of your operations to about more than 48% in the evening, the more you will be able to get more savings from this program. Now, let me share with you a video from one of our customers who was able to reap the benefits from Peak Off-Peak program. Ano po yung naging benefit? This customer was able to expand. Nagdagdag po siya ng additional na planta because of the savings from peak off peak. Tapos, ikinouple po namin siya with solar installation. The solar installations tumutulong sa kanya during peak period. Yung peak off peak tumutulong sa kanya during sa gabi. Please watch this.
To help Benetton drive down their power costs further, Meralco Biz advised Greg to shift operations of heavy power-consuming machines to 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. POP, Betfoam has been enjoying significant savings.
We subscribed to Meralco's Peak of Peak program. The savings was big. We were saving 50,000 a month.
All right, thank you. This is actually a manufacturing firm from the South that specializes in insulation and packaging solutions. For data privacy, hindi ko na po sinabi kung anong company ito. Pero pwede nyo po akong tanungin mamaya. All right, so what are the other two energy programs under our fourth level? So under the Electric Power Industry Reform Act, customers or qualified customers now have the choice to choose their electricity suppliers under the Retail Competition and Open Access or RCOA and the Green Energy Option Program or GEOP. So dun po sa una, we'll have RCOA. These are for customers with annual peak demand of 500 kilowatts and above. So just a tip, sa 100% pong porsyento ng ating bill, 40% to 60% accounts to your generation charge. And only about 17% accounts to Meralco charge or your distribution charge. So 100%, if you really want to improve your bill expenses, target the biggest chunk, which is 40 to 60%, and that's the generation charge. Now, what's the relevance of this RCOA and GEOP to that of the generation charge? With RCOA, kayo po mga customers, you have the power to choose your electricity supplier. And that accounts to your generation charge. All right? Meanwhile, yung Green Energy Option Program are for our qualified customers with 100 kilowatts and above capacity who would want to have a renewable energy source in their portfolio. Yes, 100 kilowatts and above. Yeah, that's your monthly average. Yes. Yes. So these are mostly for those customers into green agenda. Yeah. All right. All right. Now we move on to the last level, into the topmost level. Pag nasaturate nyo na po masyado lahat, all those levels, I'll go for the fifth level now. So this is the renewable energy. And the most common of which among our renewable energy is solar power. Okay? So through PV or photovoltaic technology, electricity is now converted, or solar energy is now converted into electricity through the use of solar panels. Now, bibigyan ko po kayo ng mga tips. Ano po ba yung tama when you embark on solar installations? For businesses po, marami na po kaming nag-i-install. Hindi na po newbie ang Pilipinas pagdating sa solar installations. Di ba, unlike when we go abroad, pag tumingin kayo sa eroplano, puro panels, lahat ng nasa ibabaw, di ba, ng buildings, ng residences and all. So for the Philippines, we have that much confidence now to really go for RE. All right, we have only 3 tips. Number 1, please know your needs. How much do you need in terms of your operations? And then, have the size of your panel be right-sized. Okay? In simple term, siguro simplihan natin. Kung kailangan ninyo ay 100 liter ng tubig, then the infrastructure that should be there should also be able to accommodate 100 liters. Ganon din po sa panels. That should be right size. There's no such thing as under, there's no such thing as over. All right? And then number 2, you have to check the best location for your panels. Why? Because a good harvest of the solar energy or sunlight is very, very critical for you to have more in terms of availability for your consumption. Just ensure that there's no shadowing coming from high buildings or from any other trees now or in the future. Your panels is best to be facing po sa south. But ang pinaka-best, it should be facing southwest. Yes. All right? And then the tilt, or in terms of degree nung pagkakatilt ng panels, it should be at 15 degrees. All right? So pag may kinausap na si Miss Rafael na solar provider, saan nakaharap ang panels mo? Ma'am, somewhere po sa west. Hindi pwede, dapat nasa southwest. Ayan. Ilang degree po ang tilt ng inyong panels? Ma'am, nasa 10 po. No, make it 15 degrees. Hindi mabobola si Miss Rafael because alam niya, diba? So, you know, the journey of our customers when it comes to RE, specifically on the installation of solar installation, doesn't just end with the selection of the right solar provider until the installation of the panels. I guess the end and the fulfillment of this all would bring into completion when you get to register your facilities to Meralco's program. We have the net metering, we have the zero export, and we have the distributed energy resources. Now, this is a basic notion ha. Kunwari hindi po ako taga Meralco. Marami po akong nakakausap sa labas. Miss Joy, magsa-solar panel ako eh. Di ba dapat hindi na ako makipag-usap sa Meralco? Anyway, doon naman ako kukuha ng kuryente. That's the basic notion. But you know, the truth of the matter, when you have solar installations, the more that you need to engage Meralco for your interconnection. Why? This is for your safety, this is for your stability, and this is for your sustainability in terms of maximizing your benefits. To articulate lang po ng konti, why safety? Not entirely po kasi na you'll be able to get your consumption from your solar installation. There will still be at times na kukuha po tayo sa grid or sa linya sa labas. For instance, si Yusek Gev, tumawag sa Meralco, nawalan siya ng kuryente. Eh si Yusek Gev, hindi naka-register to net metering, which is more unlikely to happen, ma'am. Just an example. So nagpunta si lineman, hindi alam, interconnected siya. Nagbabato yung facilities ng kuryente sa labas or something. That can cause harm to our lineman. Yes. Buhay po yan. Kasi nag-generate yung panels mo eh. Pwedeng magbato sa linya ng Meralco. And in terms of stability, if you will not register your solar installation to Meralco, at hindi po tama ang mga ikinabit na aparato sa inyo ng solar provider, pwede pong mag-cause ng damage to your own appliances, to your own equipment, or worst, pwede siyang mag-cause ng damage also sa linya ng Meralco, kapitbahay nyo mag-brown out. Yun pala dahil dun sa installation ninyo. And lastly, in terms of stability for maximizing savings, remember, ang metro po nating lahat ngayon, one-way traffic. One-way po ang daan yan. Meaning, lahat po tayo kumukuha, nag-i-import tayo ng kuryente. At pag may solar installations po kayo, lalo na yung net metering, two-way na po yung daan. Ibig sabihin, kumukuha ka tayo sa Meralco, and at the same time, nagbabato tayo pabalik sa Meralco. Two-way po yan. Pero po, ang metro na nakakabit sa atin, it only recognizes one and the same. So whether nagbabato kayo or kumukuha tayo from Meralco, ang basa po niyan ay iisa. It's only consumption. O di po ba, yung savings nyo, hindi siya nababasa. Instead, nababasa siya na konsumo. The more that you need to register because you will not be able to realize all the savings that you'll be getting from your solar installations. And that's the value of engaging with Meralco to have your interconnections be registered with Meralco. Sorry, napangunahan ko po, na-carried away ako masyado nung slide. So I think I can skip this slide because I was able to discuss this already. And now, last but not the least, this is the latest program. Tama po, Yusek Gev, no? This is our new kid on the block. The Distributed Energy Resources, which was launched in March 14. So these refer to all the power sources connected to the electrical facilities of the customer, which can be aggregated to meet the demand of a customer. So pwedeng pagsama-samahin po ito, iba-ibang klase yung power sources. Pwede po siyang mag-export pwedeng for own use also. Customers can be compensated also by way of credits on their bill, but the installed capacity should only be somewhere between 100 kilowatts to 1 megawatts. Pero yung credit, it's capped at 30%. All right? And that ends our 5 levels of energy management measures for businesses. I hope I was able to walk you through down the line up to the 5th level. And I hope that all of you will be able to implement necessary measures to improve your operational efficiency, generate savings for all of you, and at the same time, contribute to the nation's agenda on sustainability and management of energy. Ay, nawala. All right. So before I end, let me give you some key takeaways. Ito po yung mga pabaon ko sa inyo. Number 1, energy is controllable. Therefore, it's measurable. Anything measurable can be controlled. And anything that you can measure, that can be managed, right? So we are energy efficient if we do more with less. Some energy efficiency measures do not require cost all the time. And lastly, energy efficiency is a culture. It's a way of life. So kailan po natin sisimulan to? Right now, after this webinar. All right? So if you want and your team to have more discussions and in-depth consultations with Meralco, for our biz customers, or these are our customers with contracted capacity of 5 kilowatts to 499, please feel free to reach out to us, to any of those channels flashed on the screen, and we'll readily be reaching out to all of you ASAP. And for our Meralco Enterprise customers, these are our customers with contracted capacity of 500 kilowatts and above. Please feel free to reach out to your relationship managers or some other channels also flashed on the screen. Maraming salamat po at good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Joy. Another big round of applause for Ms. Joy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I'm going to be honest, the 2 things that stood out the most was opening the refrigerator versus the glass. I would have thought actually that the glass would, that more heat would come out of the glass. But I didn't think about the opening and closing and the regulating. So very, very good tip, Ms. Joy. Thank you so much. And by the way, if any of you have any questions about the presentation or you'd like to see the presentations again, well, we have good news for you because we can get you copies of Ms. Joy's and Ms. Maita's presentations. And the recording of this webinar will be uploaded on the Meralco website. Okay, so we'll let you know as well once that link is available. And it'll be shared with all of our registered attendees. And yeah, so if you have any comments or questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A box. You would like to take a photo? They're taking a photo? You would like to take a photo? A group photo. Oh, we're going to make sure that we take a group photo. Don't worry. Don't worry. All these beautiful ladies, we can't miss the opportunity. Okay? Okay. So once again, that Q&A box is open to our Zoom participants. And for our on-site attendees, you can write down your questions on the index cards. And we have our friends from Meralco who will be collecting those from you as well. Okay, we have our representatives, Ali and Bien, actually, who will be collecting those index cards from you. Okay? Now, for the next part of our forum, one of our esteemed customers will be sharing with us the energy efficiency measures being implemented in the country's first and only world-class theme park, the bringer of everyday magic, Enchanted Kingdom. Let's watch this.
Every day the magic is real. Every day we celebrate the magic we feel. Everywhere you see the smiles of fantasy real. At Enchanted Kingdom. Every day the laughter and cheers are enough to celebrate the wonderful years. Sing along and join in harmony. Enchanted Kingdom.
Enchanted Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. I was there each of those years, so thank you so much for that. And for all of our participants on Zoom, you may not have seen this, but while we were playing the video, we had a little photo op over here. So if you guys want to do a photo op on Zoom, mag-screenshot din kayo. Please do that as well, okay? Although, you know, some very interesting information was shared in that video. And I just have to say it's commendable. For example, with the Wheel of Fate, 2,736 pieces of 15 watts incandescent bulbs were converted to 3-watt LED bulbs. And because of this, they now have 19,700 pesos worth of monthly savings and 236,400 pesos worth of annual savings on that ride. So can you just give them a big round of applause? There are so many little things that we can do that will still give that enjoyment to our customers and our consumers, but will save us lots of money and make us more profitable and give us more longevity in the end, right? So another big round of applause for Enchanted Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before we continue, once again to everybody on Zoom, I heard we have 400 plus. How many do we have? 453 people tuned in on Zoom right now. Hello to all 453 of you. In case any of you are just joining us, we will be having the recording released so you can rewatch the whole thing again and just rewatch it as many times as you want to learn everything. Okay? And I understand we already have some comments and inquiries coming in from both the Q&A box and our on-site audience over here today, directed to our distinguished speakers, of course. Now, this brings us to our panel discussion for this afternoon. We'd like to call back on stage Ms. Maita Basa David. Palapakan po natin siya, please. Ms. Joy Mendoza from Meralco to please join us on stage. Yes, please. Give Ms. Joy. May we also call on another highly respected leader to join us for this discussion. She is the current Undersecretary of the Department of Energy, supervising the Renewable Energy Management Bureau, or the REMB, and Electric Power Industry Management Bureau. She is seconded from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, where she is also a professor at the Electrical and Electronics Engineering Institute. She was also the Undersecretary for Research and Development at the Department of Science and Technology from July 2016 to June 2022, where she served as the first program leader of the Science for Change program, a 2022 United Nations Public Service Awards winner, in fact. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for DOE Undersecretary Rowena Cristina L. Guevara. Thank you, Yusek Gev.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Also joining us today, she is a highly regarded executive, known not only in theme park and amusement circles, but also to many other sectors of society for her leadership and example. She is the epitome of a woman whose drive and spirit are simply unstoppable, having been recognized by Filipina Women's Network as one of its 100 most influential Filipinas in the world. Her duties and responsibilities as the COO of Enchanted Kingdom are her main priorities to ensure they provide safe and world-class magical experiences to all their guests, myself included. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the bringer of everyday magic, the Chief Operating Officer of Enchanted Kingdom, Dr. Cynthia R. Mamon. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the nice introduction.
It's my
Magical
honor.
afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Okay, and last but not least, let's please welcome our fifth panelist for today's discussion. She began working for Meralco as a young cadet engineer, a by invitation only position, a fast riser, and she was promoted from head of central sales office to head of Meralco Biz, to her current role as head of Meralco Enterprise and National Government. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give us a big round of applause for Vice President and Head of Meralco Enterprise and National Government Engineer Cecil M. Domingo. Cecil? Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for agreeing to be in our panel today. We have a lot of questions here, actually, as you can see. May pamay ako dito, worth of questions. And we have some time, so let's get into it. And if, by any chance, you guys have any other questions as well, please just go ahead and approach our friends from Meralco, and we'll see if we can get to that as well. Okay? Okay, I think let's kick it off, shall we? Our first question is for Miss Cecil Domingo. Hi, na-shock kayo dyan, Miss Cecil. Shock, Meralco. Okay. Okay, so the question is battery energy storage system available for all? And I guess while we answer that question, for those of us who don't know, could you explain to us what battery energy storage system is?
Okay, so battery energy storage system, it is a way, dapat si Yusek triple engineer to si Yusek, ako isang engineer. RE. Anyway, so battery, the same as how we are using battery sa cellphone, so it stores energy. Kasi usually energy kapag na-generate, nawawala na. Pero using battery, na-store natin yan. So battery energy storage system is actually bigger use more than the cellphone, the light, ganyan. So Meralco actually, we have 1,000 kilowatts of battery energy storage system under the battery, which we are piloting in Bulacan. And recently, maybe you have seen the news that some media has put up their own battery energy storage system. So that's a way for us to store the energy so we can use it during the times of like peak period that we have medyo may shortage ng supply, so pwede natin gamitin. So pero yun nga, it's still very costly as of now, so maybe available for everyone, but maybe for utilities like us or for a generation, maybe eventually just like the solar, diba dati ang mahal, solar lang rich talaga, pero ngayon, yan, bumaba na rin ang cost and yan, pwede na tayo magpakabit ng mga solar panels.
Perfect.
Ganun din sa battery.
So it's available. It's just up to you to get it, to attain it. Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Cecil. Okay, our next question is for Ms. Joy Mendoza. Can Meralco Biz provide energy assessment and advice on how we can save energy costs for our company?
Thank you. Thank you, Justin, for that question. Definitely. It's one of our programs under Power Consult. Just reach out to us and the team will readily respond to your inquiries ASAP and Justin via phone call, via email. We'll readily reach out to you and attend to that requirement. And let's start the ball rolling with energy assessment. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. It's like you have a personal assistant with Meralco at any given time, no? Thank you very much. Okay, our next question is for Ms. Maita David. She's okay. Is it true that it's better and more energy efficient to use inverter ACs when you use these for very long hours instead of just turning it on and off? Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, using inverter AC use is actually more energy efficient than using the conventional type. So it's really better to use our inverter air cons. And you keep it running because if, for example, as I mentioned earlier in the slide presentation, right, that if the room is not yet cool, so pag mas nahihirapan kasi yung air conditioning unit na mas mapalamig ang ating rooms, mas nagko-consume siya ng electricity. So it's really better as long as you keep it at that optimal level. You're also using an inverter type ACU, then you could have also savings at the comfort that you want.
Earlier, was it with you, Ms. Joy, or Ms. Maita, the 26 degrees?
25 degrees.
25 degrees. 25 degrees. Okay, so it would be keep it at 25 degrees on perpetually. Yeah.
But of course, energy consumption is the length of time, of course, that you use your electricity consumption.
Okay.
So if you are not using it, if you're going out of the room,
Okay.
then of course, the tip, of course, to turn it off.
Better. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So you heard it from them. If you're going out on like a week trip, maybe turn off your aircon, okay? Okay. All right, our next question is it's for Miss Joy again. The question is, do I still have to remain connected to Meralco if I avail of solar panels? I believe you answered this earlier, Miss Joy. Could you reiterate for the person who asked?
I guess I just have to leave the very important 3S. So it's for safety, it's for stability, and for sustainability. Safety in terms of our linemen working on maintenance. Number 2, stability, just to keep everything in order, your appliances and that of your neighbor's appliances. And same to that of Meralco's line. No interruption at all, just stay stable. And lastly, sustainability. This is to ensure that we're able to capture the generation that is being done by your solar installation for your service to capture all the savings that you get to need for your solar installations. 3S.
3S. So efficient. I love it. And again, it's that last thing that you said as well about the savings. You think that you're saving, pero it's being charged pala. Diba? So register with Meralco all of your solar, all of your renewable energy as soon as possible. Thanks so much. Would you like to add anything, Mrs.? Nag-illustrate po kayo.
They're asking kasi, the default or the existing meter is unidirectional, whether papasok, palabas ang kuryente, minimeasure niya, dagdag siya ng dagdag. When you register to Meralco, we will replace that unidirectional meter with bidirectional meter so it can see whether the consumption is palabas or papasok. So we can compute the savings. So doon siya mamimeasure yung production ng solar. Yun.
Bidirectional.
Yeah, yun yung kailangan ipalit ng Meralco sa pag nag-install ka ng solar panel.
Perfect. Upgrade, kumbaga. Upgrade din siya. Thank you so much.
If I could also add, so that is for business, but we also encourage also for our residential customers. Because we also have residential customers who have solar panels now, as mentioned earlier by Ms. Cecil. So kailangan rin mag-ano rin yan.
Register.
Register, yes.
Para lang yung mga SIM card natin.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sabay na natin. Okay. Our next question is for Miss Cynthia Mamon. Among the famous Enchanted Kingdom... Parang nasa ano tayo, or, Family Feud or something, I don't know. Among the famous Enchanted Kingdom rides, which consumes the most electricity?
Well, they said the appliances that consume electricity are the ones that need heating, right? And of course, cooling, right? I guess among the rides, it's probably our biggest attraction, which is Aguila. And this is also our way of promoting Aguila. Aguila is our flying theater, the only one in the country where you see a film which shows you the beauty of our country. Wow. Yeah, it's of course the theater is 3 levels. And it's high ceiling, just like what you described. So the aircon alone requires so much power. And of course, the theater itself, where we show the projector using all the technical equipment, will require the high level of consumption. Yeah, that's why probably you realize we did provide the video because there's so much information that we'd like to share. And it's a complicated business of providing fun because it's not more than, it's not one ride, but about 30 attractions. And that statistic for the Wheel of Fate is just one ride.
Yes.
But it also proves the point that if you can consider the energy efficiency of one ride times 30 attractions, that's energy efficiency for a business like ours. But to the viewers who are watching, I'd like to emphasize that our energy efficiency is not cost-cutting. Because for our business, what's paramount is safety of our guests to enjoy the magical experience. So the energy efficiency is to do more with less.
Yes.
So that, of course, we would like lesser wastage and efficiency so that we really give the magical experience that we promise. We do not sacrifice safety because that's very important for our business.
Thank you.
Especially for loyal customers like you, right?
Yes, that's right. I do need to check out that Aguila, though.
Yes. That's the biggest attraction we have. And that for us is is one that really consumes. But take note, in the video also, we did do power consult. I'd like to believe that if Meralco is listening, maybe they're checking if we did comply with everything that they provided advice. I'd like to acknowledge Daniel. He is a very good relationship manager, not just a relationship manager. Because really, Enchanted Kingdom did assessment. We also do power quality assessment. And then, of course, we comply with the law. And then we also take advantage of peak, off-peak, because, you know, our hours are 11 to 8. So after 8, when the park closes, that's a time when we can save. And of course, we also measure our consumption because we don't want to pay what is unused. So there is the guaranteed minimum billable demand. That's GMBD. And so by advice of our relationship manager, we make sure that we are properly consulted. In fact, what's paramount to us is when there's power fluctuation, what will happen? Because there are riders on the ride, right?
Yes.
And so we do have 5 generator sets that can power up the whole park. There was a time when, of course, there were plenty of power fluctuations when we really operated the park on full generator set, just to make sure that there's no interruption in the experience of the riders. But even if there is such fluctuation, we have safety mechanisms of each ride, because each ride is actually guaranteed with the ASTM, with the manufacturer safety standards. So all of them have safety mechanisms just in case there's power fluctuation, there's emergency brake, and ensures that the riders are brought to safety, even with power fluctuation. And we quickly shift from generator to Meralco and Meralco to generator. Seamless. 25 seconds to generator and maybe 2 seconds to Meralco. Daniel is looking at me. No, but and then whenever there's a close relationship to our head of our electrical and our power operations division, just texts Daniel, hey, ano nangyari? So, of course, we do know when there is fluctuation, and whenever it is unscheduled, then we have the support of Meralco. And we also use MServe and Empower.
Thank you very much. Big round of applause. Ms. Cynthia and Enchanted Kingdom, thank you for keeping our safety in mind and all of these things. Thank you so much.
It's important.
Yes, indeed, indeed. If the past 3 years taught us anything, safety, health and safety.
For 27 years so far.
Yeah.
27 years, 28 by October.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're blessed that we have maintained it to be real safe. We've maintained it to be real safe and, of course, magical for all families who are going there, including all the women biz. And thank you for inviting me here.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. We have another question now, and this time it's for Yusek Guevara. The question is, how much power or energy is needed for the Philippines to fulfill the demands of the manufacturing and service sector and be able to reach the target forecast of economic growth of the Philippines?
The numbers that we do have is for the entire country, not just the commercial and industrial. So plus residential, the total is about 27,000 megawatts. And in order for us to grow, we're targeting 6 to 8% per year economic growth. We need to push in the renewable energy, and we're targeting 35% renewable energy by 2030 and 50% by 2040. We're currently at 22%. So we have a long way to go. But these are the magical numbers. Last year, we had a green energy auction, and we auctioned off 2,000 megawatts. And these are going to be delivered in 2025. But this year, we're holding another auction. We are auctioning off 11,600 megawatts. The first delivery of 3,600 megawatts is next year. And then another 3,600 megawatts in 2025, and 4,400 megawatts in 2026. It's so aggressive now because we want to bring in the renewable energy because we are one with the women biz in climate change.
Yay! Please. Oh. So by 2026.
By 2024, the first 3,600 will come in. And for those who are in the business of generation, we are making it easier. Used to be to participate in the green energy auction program, you must have a service contract. We made it so easy. You have a letter of intent that was submitted on time to our EVOS, then you can participate.
For those of us who may not understand, particularly me, how would this auction work?
Okay. Very good. So the auction is for 20 years supply of renewable energy. It can be solar on the ground, solar on the shore, or floating solar, solar on the roof. It can be wind. It can be offshore wind. It can be geothermal. It can also be hydroelectric run-off river. So for 20 years, you will bid that I'm going to sell my electricity at this price. And you will do that for 20 years. And because you are an awardee of the Green Energy Auction Program, you do not have to compete in the competitive selection process of distribution utilities. So you immediately be able to supply the deals. You have a market right away. So
Guaranteed
for 20
market.
years, you must make sure that the price of your electricity stays the same. And the other thing is, the Energy Regulatory Commission on April 27, that's next week, will come up with the maximum bid. So you cannot go beyond that. So it's to make sure that our consumers will not be saddled with very expensive renewable energy.
Thank you so much. Now, last follow-up question to that. For the people there who would like to apply for this auction, who would like to participate in this auction, where can they learn more information about that?
Oh, just go to the website of the Department of Energy, or you can just Google Green Energy Auction 2.
Noted. Replay, okay? You can put it in the comment section as well. Okay. Actually, the next question is still for you, Yusek. On ARCOA and GEOP, I think I pronounced GEOP, do we call it? GEOP. GEOP. You sound like a rapper a little. GEOP. Aside from the kilowatts demand requirements, is there a cost difference between the two, between ARCOA and GEOP? And which is more cost beneficial for an organization?
It depends on where you are and who your supplier is. Because sometimes if you are in a place where there's a lot of renewable energy in the energy mix of your distribution utility, maybe GEOP will be good for you. But if you are in a place wherein, all the generators are diesel, for example, then you cannot do GEOP. And then the other one, on the ARCOA, I was just in the event of the ERC. They launched their renewable energy market online reporting. Meaning to say, if you're looking for an RES, a supplier, you can actually look at the score sheet or scorecard for each of the RE companies. And then you can choose which one is the best in terms of price, or which one has renewable energy, and so on. So the target of the government is eventually you can choose your supplier at the household level. Because currently, if you're located in a geographic area, you're bound to the franchise DU in that area. But eventually, because of ARCOA, we would be able to choose our own suppliers.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you very much for that information. I have trouble choosing my microwave, which actually results. Our next question is about microwaves, and it's for Ms. Maita David over here. For homes, what advice can you give in using the microwave oven? Does it really consume that much electricity?
Well, for microwave ovens, you don't use it for a long period of time. Most of the time, it's only about 5 minutes. And for 5 minutes of use of the microwave, that's about 1 to 2 pesos.
5 minutes of use,
Yes,
1 to 2
for
pesos.
5 minutes of use. So I guess, for microwaves, since you don't use it for a long period of time, if you just use it for heating some of your food, right? So it doesn't really cost that much.
So why do we think it costs so much?
The
There
mic-
really is that.
the technology. for-
Yeah, yeah.
May
Okay.
I add something?
Sure.
Okay, from a physics point of view. If you want something to get heated in the microwave, it must contain water. Because the microwave is tuned to the distance between water molecules. So if you put dry food there, it's not going to get heated, even if you put it there for 10 minutes. So there must be water content.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
So if, for example, you want to heat rice that has been in the fridge for a long time, so dry na. So you wisik water.
Ah. That makes sense. Have you heard of the Rocket Book before? It's a notebook that you can write on, and then when you put that notebook into the microwave with the glass of water, then it will erase everything that's written in the notebook. So now I understand why we need the cup of water. Physics, because of physics. Sure.
Question, how about the iron, the plancha?
Oh, sige, plancha.
But actually, any heating or cooling appliance really, it uses up a lot of energy. So in the same way for our irons, if you don't use it, the tip there is you should start ironing clothes. Mag-start tayo doon sa light materials, going towards the heavier materials. Kasi habang umiinit yung plancha natin, diba? So mas mahirap planchahin yung mga heavier materials. So we just need to be a bit more wiser in terms of how we're going to use it, and then do it na one time, wag yung pa isa-isa. So any heating appliance is also, it uses up a lot of electricity.
Hair dryers.
Practical, for the
Namamalansya talaga yan.
viewers.
Namamalansya talaga si Maita. Hindi ko alam kung dating labandera. Hindi naman. May labandera.
About washing machine. Ganun
Oh, washing
din.
machine daw.
Oh my gosh! Actually, so now that we're on you, Miss Maita. Earlier on, you said something. Phantom. What is it? Phantom.
Phantom load.
Phantom
Yeah,
load.
phantom load.
Okay, that is the thing I didn't like learning about today. This phantom load. That apparently, even if you're not using it, if it's plugged in, it could still be consuming. Which means my mom is right, diba? I don't want my mom to be right about that. Unplug, ma. It's not being used. Phantom load. Okay, so my question now actually is, I was really curious about this. What about because earlier you were talking about power strips, right? So what about smart adapters? Like for if you're going to connect your Google Home, your Alexa, things like that, and it regulates the current that goes in, correct? So would those smart adapters also be using a phantom load?
Well, anything that is plugged in,
Yeah.
it would use up load. But then if you're going to use your smart adapter, to manage your electrical load, then it would really help out in the long run. But if you're talking about anything that is plugged in, then yes, it would consume.
So it depends on your usage. Okay. Nice. We're learning today, folks. We're learning. This next question is funny, actually. It's for you. It's, why is the monthly Meralco bill so high?
We saw that earlier when you put
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it so high?
So-
Yeah, why is it so high? Again, it's because of your consumption, The way you use your consumption, the amount and length of time that you use your electrical loads, all the appliances that you have in your homes, the temperature, and how you are using it. All of that put together, of course, uses up electricity. As mentioned earlier, during the summer season, we mentioned that it's about 10 to 40% increase. Kasi diba, mas kailangan natin ng kuryente, mas kailangan nating maging komportable. So mas matagal nating ginagamit ang aircon, ang ating mga electric fan, and even a refrigerator that is plugged in 24/7. Dahil nga yung outside factor, diba, the temperature also has a factor in the compressor in the motor. Kaya that's why there is an increase. So bakit mataas ang electricity bill? It's because of our behavior, diba? It's because of our usage. And then, the totality of that, it reflects on your electricity bill.
May I add?
Yes.
No, in behalf of the women biz and maybe the business people listening, we've attended several eco briefings in MAP and Women Biz, and it says that we're probably the second highest in terms of power cost. So I'd give you the opportunity to explain why this is so, because this affects our competitiveness. So may I
I'd like
ask
to
you
answer that
Yes,
question.
please.
Yeah. The Philippines, when you compare to the other countries, it seems as if our electricity rate is higher. And the reason is that the government does not subsidize electricity in the Philippines. The government subsidizes activities that are innovative, activities that contribute to the economic development. So, ganun po yung contribution ng government. So, pag tiningnan mo, tanggalin mo lahat ng subsidy dun sa Thailand, pare-pareho lang po tayo ng presyo. Opo. So, kasi kayo papipiliin, saan mo gustong may subsidy? Sa kuryente? O mas gusto mong may incentive ka na income tax holiday for, let's say, an innovative project? Siyempre, mas gusto mo yung mga ganon, di ba? So, iba-iba po yung the way that our taxation and our incentive was created. Kasama po na sa electricity, hindi po tayo nagsasubsidize. Because the more you consume, ibig sabihin, the more you can afford. So you should pay more. Diba? Pero if you are conserving and you're using efficient equipment and appliances in your house, then you pay less.
Thank you for that answer, because I think it's more of perception.
Yes.
When they say, of all the countries in the region, Philippines is the highest, and somehow for investors, that's a mind barrier. And so that's a very good explanation, which we can use to explain to other people as well.
And then I also learned something from the business community. So people say, oh, mahal ang kuryente sa Pilipinas. But you know, Filipinos are wonderful workers. So that's what attracts them to the Philippines. Talo yung electricity cost because the people are talented and the people are very good workers.
So that's what we will have to promote. It's, lessen the perception, which is a negative perception about high power cost, but probably leverage on the skill set, the work ethics of the Filipino workers. Women biz. That's our advocacy.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for those insights. Actually, the next question is related to that for Yusek Guevara. Are there more financial incentives being crafted currently by the government or the regulator to encourage take-up of renewable energy for the end users? I suppose, are there more financial incentives being crafted by the government or the regulators to encourage more people to use renewable energy?
Yeah. If, for example, you have a big load, you can actually do self-generation. And if you use renewable energy, then you get all the incentives of the Renewable Energy Act. So you get income tax holiday, you get to import the equipment tax-free. So there are those beautiful incentives. And then, of course, if you are producing your own power, you can also sell to the grid your excess power.
Nice. Okay. Listed. Thank you very much. And speaking of the grid, Miss Joy Mendoza, the last question that we're going to have for our open session today is, how can I avail of POP?
Regardless of our customer types, whether it's from the household, whether it's from our SMEs, or from the enterprise, when we engage with our customers or our customers reach out to Meralco, we usually provide a simulation. Earlier, I mentioned that if customers are able to shift more of its operations to more than 48%, that's a guaranteed benefit already. So that is the purpose of our simulation. Upuan natin, pag-usapan natin, and then we will simulate your operations. We will see if 48% of your operations is into off-peak. If so, we will push you to register to the program. But if the simulation uncovers that your off-peak consumption is somewhere below 48%, we'd recommend to keep you on the existing rate rather than going to peak off-peak, because you won't benefit from the program being a peak user. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Joy. Big round of applause for Ms. Joy. Apparently, we have time for one more question, and this one is for Ms. Cecil Domingo. Question is, what should companies do to go for more energy efficient options? I recently read a case study from Malaysia with 12 hospitals changing motors with 60% efficiency gain across all the motors. Again, the question is, what should companies do to go for more energy efficient options?
Yeah, very good question, and that's actually what we are promoting, to be more energy efficient. And also we have a law already, the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, that encourages or even punishes companies who will not be energy efficient. So yeah, you can contact us, our relationship manager. We can do, especially for big loads or big customers like that, those that are designated establishments that are included in the EENC, or Energy Efficiency and Conservation Law. So we need to do the energy management pyramid that Joy discussed earlier, so we can get the baseline, we can see how can we be more energy efficient, what programs we can do, and even installing solar panels or renewable energy, or even energy supply options. So there are many tiers of energy efficiency and energy conservation that we can do for such big companies. So talagang 1:1 tackling of the energy management.
If I may add.
Of course.
Just from our experience, it's a process. I mean, you don't change overnight, right? So number one, I guess, is to develop the plan, like energy management system. Way back, many, many years, we realized old air conditioners need to be replaced because the efficiency of this aircon, luma na kasi, so nag-consume siya ng power, pero ang buga ng lamig, mahina. So that's the first thing we need. We did. We went around and changed all the air conditioners, that's one. Then second, as in the video, we changed the incandescent, the fluorescent lamps to LED. So it shows the savings, right? And then now, sustainability, moving forward, we're studying now to install solar panels. But you're right in the sense that it's not just getting one provider and doing it on our own. And so we're really studying it, we're evaluating, and of course we're consulting with Spectrum because you do provide that as well. And then making sure that it's a careful approach to installing it because we do have our plans. So our projection is not based on current consumption, but because we have expansion plans, which we plan to do, install new facilities, new attractions, so that comes into the equation. So when we analyze, it is current usage plus expansion plans so that you develop the appropriate right-sized solar installation that's needed. So from a business point of view, I think it's more a process, a careful planned approach. It's more of policy, procedures, systems, and of course people involvement so they know, and just like us, we're learning. It's a learning experience for me. I'm no engineer, but I'm learning.
Galing, speaking from experience. Yan,
Yeah. I'm no engineer, but I learn from our
Parang
engineers.
engineer mamon.
Yeah.
Engineer
Because
Cynthia.
if you really want to learn, and you learn much about even based on the perception and all of that. So thank you for the very good way to handle that negative perception because I'm in tourism, right? We need to know how to answer those negative perception of high power rates in the country that affects business investments, foreign direct investments in the country.
Awesome point. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for all of our panelists. It was definitely a very informative discussion, and we hope that this exchange was able to enlighten all of us, whether in this room or on Zoom, that energy efficiency begins with a single, simple step, done repeatedly over a period of time, multiplied by the huge customer base of Meralco. We can all do our share in securing energy reserves in our country. So once again, let's give a big round of applause for our panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Yusek Rowena Guevara, Dr. Cynthia Mamon, palapakan natin sila. Ms. Maita David, Ms. Joy Mendoza, Ms. Cecil Domingo. Thank you so much. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to call in. Yes? Okay. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call in the president of Airspeed International Corporation, who is also the president of the Women's Business Council Philippines, to formally conclude today's energy efficiency. Oh, sorry, some parting words. Yeah, some parting words from our panelists, but sorry about that. Yes, so one last piece of advice. Final
Okay.
bullet points for everybody tuned in. For
Miss
each of our
Universe
panelists.
question ba yan, Justin?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
60 seconds. Go. No, no, just kidding.
Starts now. Well, I guess energy in general or energy management is everyone's responsibility. And perhaps today is a manifestation of that responsibility. Why? Because public and private stakeholders are here all together, virtual and here, face to face. We are all here, private sectors sharing their best practices, your distribution utility company, Meralco, providing all the information needed to let our customers know what should we know, what should we be informed, or how should we be informed for us to be energy efficient. And most important of all, the government, through DOE, is here with us, collaborating with all of our customers to ensure that they are also exhausting all efforts to make everything seamless and to make everything in order. So energy management starts with me, it starts with you, and it starts with everyone here in the room and even outside this room. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Joy.
Thank you.
Ms. Cecil.
Thank you. So sa akin naman, I just would like to encourage everyone who are watching and participating. So feel free to contact Meralco for your energy efficiency needs. So magtulungan tayo, hindi pwedeng isa-isa lang yan. Yun nga, everyone's responsibility. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching and umpisahan na natin. Gawin na natin.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cecil.
Yeah, I'll go next before Yusek, Gavin, and Cynthia, Ma'am Cynthia. So I would just like to thank everybody and of course the Women Business Council for inviting Meralco. This is the first session. So as mentioned by Attorney Lorna Kapunan, yeah, it's a series of discussion and hopefully you have set the gold standard in terms of yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, for inviting us to be part of this session. And it's really, truly encouraging. And I hope that we have provided you with all of the tips to be more energy efficient. And you know, this is something that Meralco also does. Now, we reach out to our customers, be it in the residential segment, in our micro business, in enterprise, national government, even our LGUs, we talk to them, we reach out, and that is some really a call to action on the part of Meralco. So we would like to thank everyone, and yes, I look forward to having more engagements in the future with everyone. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maita. Ms. Cynthia. I love that smile before talking.
Well, I've shared with you the best practices for Enchanted Kingdom, and I'd like to share your slogan as well. There's a song, You've Got the Power. If you know the song, You've Got the Power, nothing's gonna stay in your way. That's very good. And then if you see Aguila, the line there that you will keep in your memory is, the power to light the world is in you. So while that is the slogan for Aguila, our flying theater, that aligns also with the topic this afternoon. And to the viewers, we'd like to assure you that you will always have a safe and magical experience at Enchanted Kingdom. We are trying our very best to achieve excellence in business operations, and of course, through this topic is through energy efficiency. So let EK's magic live with you forever.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cynthia. And Yusek.
First of all, I would like to thank the Women Business Council for inviting the Department of Energy to be part of this wonderful, beautiful experience. And second, of course, our partner, Meralco, for always being there because, you know, they're the biggest, but, you know, they're willing to help the smaller guys. So thank you very much for inviting us. And to our viewers, I would like to remind you that we are entering the hotter months of the year. So we have a power outlook where we said there are supposed to be 16, and then it became 12 yellow alerts and zero red alerts for Luzon. And we're very happy to report that we already skipped 2 yellow alerts in the past 2 weeks. And the reason is that while supply went down compared to our power outlook, demand went down more. So ibig sabihin, people are doing demand-side management. So the Department of Energy would like to thank all our consumers for sticking to our request for you to conserve energy and to use energy-efficient appliances and equipment. Her song was different from mine. My song is, I've Got the Power. Yes. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yusek. A big round of applause for all of them once again, ladies and gentlemen. Yusek Rowena Guevara, Dr. Cynthia Mamon, Miss Maita David, Miss Joy Mendoza, Miss Cecil Domingo as well. Another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. You may now return to your seats. Thank you so much for coming up here. We're definitely going to take some more pictures later on, okay? So don't worry about that. But at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to call in the president of Airspeed International Corporation, who is also the president of the Women's Business Council Philippines, to formally conclude today's Energy Efficiency Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Ms. Rosemary P. Rafael.
Thank you, Justin. And thank you, everyone. I have so many takeaways. But as a mother, what you have said, Mike, I've been doing. In fact, just like what Justin said, my children were really like, why do we have to do this? Because I always ask them to unplug because I know about the phantom load. And you know why I know? I called up Meralco. I asked for tips and I asked them, okay, what are the appliances that I need to be careful about? Because really and truly, like the plancha, the microwave. So, would you believe I don't have a microwave at home? No, seriously. And then plancha, I don't buy clothes sa kailangan planchahin na masyado. No, seriously, because as you said, you have the power in you to be energy efficient. And I can say that in our village, my neighbors and even Ida, we always usually compare prices, our Meralco bills. We compare. And I'm always the best. Yes, really and truly, comparing apples to apples, if they have 4 aircons or whatever, or how many people inside their household, I still have the best. Oo, mahirap gawin yon. In fact, Justin, my children are always complaining because I have to always unplug everything. And it's true, that's as a mother. But recently, and thank you to Meralco and Cecil, of course, and I'm really praising God that you're a member now of Women's Biz. Really and truly, you are really value added to the Women's Biz advocacies, the vision, and the mission that we have. And that's what we really need, not just to build Women's Biz, but to build our community and to build our country. So, as a business owner as well, I talked to Cecil. In fact, I think that was during COVID or before COVID, something like that. And I really started, because you said something about measuring. I started measuring our fuel consumption, but environment data, they have to submit it to me because we're really heavy on sustainability, not only Airspeed, but of course, Women's Business Council Philippines. I know my consumption of the kilowatt for a year, sabi ko nga, 750,000 o kulang pa para sa mga programs nyo. But my thing there is that 750,000 is just in one location. Nationwide, we have maybe 20 locations. So there's always in the warehouses, how do you conserve? And that's why I'm really into the energy efficiency programs. And I also look at the waste management, which, of course, Donna is into waste management as well, which is very, very important. Especially what we are talking about is really relevant. This is going to affect our future. And this is very important that we do what we need to do now. If it's complicated, overwhelming, or we don't know where to start, let's start at home first. let's start with what we can do. Let's try to be simple. In our office, I was so confused. I said, oh my gosh, sustainability, climate change, how do I control the weather? I cannot control the weather, things like that. But we started doing simple things like cleaning the river in our area, which really helped. And I think the LGU in that area, wherever you are, will even help you in doing those things. So let's not be discouraged, overwhelming or not. It can be done because there's always power for a brighter tomorrow. And with women helping women, women supporting women, we can make things happen. And thank you so much. I believe that this is only the beginning of many things to come with our partnership, building the community, building our business, and building lives. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rosemary P. Rafael. Power for a brighter tomorrow. I love it. I love it. Another big round of applause for her, please, ladies and gentlemen. And there you have it. Thank you so much for coming today. We really, really appreciate your presence, your participation, and we hope to see you in our next events as well. Ladies and gentlemen, our forum on energy efficiency at home and in business has come to an end. Once again, thank you all for coming here today. And apparently, our online participation, we peaked at a total of 465 attendees this afternoon. So everybody on Zoom, thank you so much. And the replay will be available. We're going to give that link to you as soon as we can, okay? And once again, we also very much value your opinion and would love to find out your thoughts and suggestions about this afternoon's webinar. So please scan this QR code. There you go. This QR code. And it's also posted in the chat box to answer the post-event survey. We'll also be sending you the link via email together with a certificate of attendance for all of our registered guests. Once again, we're showing on screen right over here the QR code for you to join the Viber group for enterprise and national government accounts. This group is for enterprise customers, which by definition are businesses with average peak demand of at least 500 kilowatts or an estimated monthly bill of 1.6 million pesos. If that's you, please scan the code. Make sure to scan it so you can get instant access to news and information from Meralco. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, our online program has come to an end. Thank you so much for joining us. We'd like to thank all of our Zoom participants again for joining us today, and to our guests on site. We know what you want. It's picture time, okay? We're gonna do that in just a little bit, okay? But again, thank you to everybody on Zoom. Thank you to the Women's Business Council Philippines for co-presenting this Energy Efficiency and Sustainability Forum with Meralco. It certainly has been a pleasure hosting this event and learning and just laughing with all of you lovely ladies today. Once again, my name is Justin Quirino. Thank you very much and a pleasant day to everybody. Good afternoon.